Because you've said to me as well that you don't consider yourself 100% gay. You do find men somewhat attractive,
Hmm.
but it's not your current preference where your head is at the moment. Hi, everybody. I hope you're doing well. This is my latest podcast with a woman named Haaj from America. She's a wonderful special ed teacher from New York. She got in touch with me because she wanted to discuss a few things and get some help, particularly around sexuality as a Muslim woman, which is obviously heavily frowned upon at the best in her religion and within her family structure. And I think she found that very difficult and wanted to have that conversation and also put herself out there for other people to hear who may be struggling with the same thing. I think religion can be somewhat oppressive in letting us be our true selves, and also within those complex and rigid family structures can be very difficult. We also get into some deep conversations around suicidal thoughts, and yeah, I think it's a wonderful conversation I think you can learn from. I really hope you enjoy it. We've talked about sexuality, which I know is a big, you're very passionate about it, both as someone who's grown up as a Muslim woman, somewhat oppressed, aren't able to always be your true open self, and you find that difficult and you want to inspire other people. How's that for a summary?
That's perfect.
Well, it's Hajj, right? Hajj? Tell me about yourself, or tell us about yourself.
So I was born in New York. I do teach special ed. I've got the little ones, so kindergarten, first, second graders, sweetest kids. What else can I say? Yes, I am going through some mental health. It's been a struggle for a while. I remember about 14 years ago, I had these feelings for someone, and then just something happened. I never really got the full answer or my closure as to what exactly made her push me away. And because of that, she was like, I never want to talk to you again. I can't believe you did this to me. And that was when I closed my true self off. That's when I just said, it was kind of like a traumatizing thing because I had a lot of strong feelings for this woman. And so when she said that, I was like 25 years old. And so I just thought to myself, wow, am I really that bad of a person that this person who I cared so much about is now telling me, don't ever talk to me again. What you did to me was your fault. So I hid my true self for like 14 years, 13 years until the end of last year when suddenly around August, I just wasn't feeling myself. It was more like, I don't want to say depressed, but like maybe I was just like mentally tired of just hiding who I was. I'm not really sure how to put it, but nothing just brought me joy anymore. I was just tired. And so the end of, go ahead.
No, I don't want to interrupt you. Carry on.
And so the end of the year, towards the end of the year, those feelings were brought up again. And so it just felt good. Like, this is the real me. This is who I am.
We're talking about sexuality now.
Yes. And so there was still a lot of confusion because for over a decade, here I was showing everyone that I'm into guys. Now I'm going back to confused again. So it was just a lot of back and forth.
I firmly believe that sexuality is learned at some point in
Mm-hmm.
our lives, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how to prove it yet. There's an argument that people are born gay. Either way, I couldn't give a shit. Like, I've slept with men and women. I consider myself
Okay.
mostly straight,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm unashamed to say that I've dabbled both ways. And I know from my own trauma that I didn't have a typical upbringing, and I think that in some way that has influenced me. My therapist and I have discussed if I was maybe sexually abused from a young age. Not sure, because I don't remember. I wonder if that has influenced me in some way. But then also, I don't know, kids with multiple brothers and sisters, often you learn from each other. Like, you have middle child syndrome, you have younger
Mm-hmm.
child. I also wonder if simply playing together at a very young age, like naked, two of you in a pool or whatever, swimming pool, I wonder if that influences sexuality. My point is, we are who we are for whatever reason, and it doesn't make it bad, but there's so much shame and stigma surrounding it in particularly the LGBTQ community, that it's difficult to be your true self. And I can't even begin to imagine what it's like as a Muslim woman,
Oh,
where
of course.
you can be shot for being homosexual, I believe.
Absolutely.
Or so that pressure must be very difficult for you. And we spoke. I mean, you sent me some messages on Instagram, and you explained how in Muslim culture the boys don't get to mix with the girls, and the girls don't get to mix with the boys. And
Hmm.
growing up, only girls are together. Did you wear a hijab or any coverings growing up?
No, 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 none of that.
I wonder if in very conservative Muslim societies, girls will only ever be undressed around other girls. I wonder if that leads you to some sort of attraction or whatever. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, but it just it's difficult for someone like you who feels that they can't be their real self. And I'm sorry
Hmm.
to hear that. And I'm glad to find that you're finding your way. Are you seeing someone now?
No.
Someone you like? I won't put you too much on the spot there. That's a bit too easy.
Thank you.
But do you want to talk about the love that you lost, or is that too painful?
I
What
guess I
would you
could
like to
talk
talk
about
about?
it. I could talk about it, but I just don't want to go into too much details, if that's
It's your
okay with
show.
you.
It's your show.
Okay, appreciate that. Towards the end of last year, there was someone who entered my life, and I just went crazy for her. I thought she was a great
Did it
person.
reawaken something for you?
It did.
Maybe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because like I said, for like 14 years or 13 years, I don't know, 2011. So this is 2023, 12 years. Wow, 12 years. Okay. So for 12 years, I was hiding my true self, and now all of these emotions are coming back, these feelings are coming back. And the fact that this person I thought was very important, who I deeply cared about, it was just like, okay, maybe this is the real me that this individual helped me reawaken, as you said. Then around January, just things got very odd, less talking, pulling back, not much communication. And so that made me wonder, like, oh my God, is this going back to 2011 again? Where the first woman who I was so crazy about, she did the same thing. A lot of pulling back, lack of communication. And then it got to the point where she just said, don't ever talk to me again. What you did, you ruined me. You made me a whole different person. So it was more like kind of like a deja vu type of thing, but like, oh my God, is this really happening all over again now? So that scared me.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, especially if it's so traumatic. Was the first girl your first love? Do you think?
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
because we were together for, was it 7 or 8 months? I'm trying to think. It started July of 2010, and it ended like around March or April of 2011.
So a
So
year and a
let's,
bit, right? Did I do that right?
no, July, August, September, October, November, December,
Oh, excuse me.
January, February,
I got
March.
that way wrong. 9 months. Yeah.
Like 8 to 9 months. Yeah. So close to a year. You can only imagine just how strong my feelings were for her. And then all of a
Es-
sudden, and then all of
Especially
a,
when you're young as
Mhm.
well, right? Because
Yes.
I mean, we all fall in love a lot easier when we're younger because I think it takes a while to understand what love really is, but it doesn't mean
Hmm.
that those first relationships are any less impactful on you and how much they
Right.
can sting if they go wrong. So,
Hmm. Hmm. So it was like a deja vu type of thing. It was more like, oh my God, is this happening all over again? It literally did drive me crazy. Then we started talking a little more, this new person. Not the way that it was when we first initiated conversations. And it's just been a lot of on and off, once in a while talking, very friendly now. Do I still think she's a very important person in my life? Absolutely. I think she is a great person. I think she's inspired me in a lot of ways to like go back to school, do better with my health because I'm going to the gym more often now. So I give her a lot of credit for changing myself to be a better person. I think we'll just leave it at that for now.
I want to interrupt very quickly because I mean, I picked up on a couple of things you've said, and I just want to go
Mm-hmm.
over. I mean, I'm in the middle of writing a lot of my courses for my business that I'm working towards, and I've been going over the 5 Fs: so fight, flight, fawn, freeze, and flop. And
Uh-huh.
again, not to be too mean and put you on the spot, but I get the
Mm-hmm.
impression that you can be a little bit of a people pleaser. Is that right or wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
No,
and I
I
only say
definitely
that
am.
I only say that because I think it's, and again, I'm trying not to be too critical of you because you
Oh,
know
you
it comes
can.
from a good place. But I think, no, I'm not going to. It's sad that you went from this experience of having a really wonderful first love to then going towards men.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of that is because of, like you said, there's pressure from your family, from society, and especially from the
Yes.
religion that you feel like you've got to do that for somebody else. And then I
Mm-hmm.
also heard about this previous, the most recent connection you had. You give too
Uh-huh.
much credit to her for empowering you, when the truth is you made those decisions to go to the gym and to be healthier and to look after yourself. And I think the difference is that because you felt loved and cared for, that you feel strong enough to do some of those things. And I recognize that in myself.
Mm-hmm.
I went through a very difficult period where I lost my father this year, and he was like the last of my family, and feeling that I was suddenly unloved and unwanted by the rest of my family really triggered me until I got to the point of really loving myself again. I just don't think you give yourself enough credit, is what I want to say.
I'm always like that. I never give myself enough credit. I'm always the person who will give everyone else the credit.
Why do you think
Maybe
that
because
is?
I think because I'm just not selfish. I'm not the type. I've never put myself first. I'm always putting other people first.
It's difficult, isn't it? It takes a while, and I was
Mm-hmm.
the same. I don't know about your experience, but I grew up with a sister 18 months younger and another sister like maybe 9 months younger, and I was always in trouble if I didn't do what my mum wanted of me, both physically and emotionally. And
Mm-hmm.
it led to me being people pleaser for her because I had to manage her emotions because she was so off the rails.
Mm-hmm.
And my sister would bully me, friends would bully me. I allowed people to bully me because I didn't value myself enough and I didn't put myself first enough because I'd learned in my environment that I wasn't important. Other people came in front of me, were more important than me. Their feelings were more important than me. And that's why I became a people pleaser. Can you relate to that?
100%.
What was your experience like in the family? Hi all, just a quick reminder to please like the video and subscribe. I'm trying to help as many people as I can with these messages and conversations that I'm having, just trying to access other people that need help. Also, my community on School is available for you to join if you're interested in learning more about mental health and how to heal yourself for free without having to pay someone else, some other expensive therapist or influencer. Please check out the link in the description of the video, and I'll see you soon.
In my culture, well, like, it's in a lot of cultures, but in my culture, usually the boy almighty, you know? So anything that my brother did, just turn the other cheek. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Oh, he's a boy. It's not a big deal. But anything that I did was always a problem. If I wanted to go out, I'd have to be home by like 10, maybe 11 o'clock. He would be out till 3, 4 in the morning. Not a big deal. He would come home drunk. It would be like the biggest tragedy ever, things like that. Like, oh my God, I can't believe you're doing that. He was also very difficult. One second.
Okay, sorry about that.
You're okay. Take your time.
He was always very angry. He was angry. He would just yell a lot, throw things a lot, and harm you. So I had to be the one to save the family. He would put his hands on, unfortunately, my mother. So I had to always save her, like pull him off, pull her off. Even though she would always say, "This is not your business. You stay in your room. This is between me and him." But like at the same time, how dare you touch my mother, touch your mother?
Yeah.
And so because of the fear and the rage and the anger that he'd always have, I had to stop my life to make sure that my mom was safe. So stopped grad school for a long time. Oh shit. Sorry. So I had to stop grad school because I was always afraid if I wasn't home, what if he starts another argument and does something? I had to stop studying to become a teacher because I was always afraid, what if he does something to her and I'm not around? So for a long time, over a decade, I should say, I had to stop my entire life, go to work and come home. And I had no friends for a long time. Like I wouldn't go out because I was so scared that he would do something and I wouldn't be home and hurt so,
I'm really sorry. I'm sorry to hear that.
it's a little better now, but for a long time, I was very traumatized by this. PTSD, part of my depression stemmed from that also.
I mean, I can imagine. How much younger is he than you?
3 years younger.
Okay. Everything that I'm writing and designing in my course is fresh in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So when I think of learned behavior, my first guess would be that your father is also quite physically violent towards you and your mother. Is that true? I'm trying to understand where he would learn this behavior.
It was definitely from my father, for sure, because he always degraded my mother. So that's why my brother does that. And when he gets angry, he will like curse her out, and I'm like, how dare you? That's your mother. How freaking dare you do that? It's one thing to be angry at your mom or your dad, and you just like say something, but like to degrade them, like this is the same woman who was always there for you when you needed the help. So he definitely got all of this from my father, for sure. The violence definitely from my dad. He's toned down a lot. My dad's was just ruthless for a long time. And think once I can't even remember because it's been so long and I feel like I blacked it out now. I think maybe me around age 7 or 8, that's when I noticed that there hasn't been any violence from my dad. So, but the name calling, the degrading, that continues to this day, and it bothers me.
It bothers me as well. I saw a lot of it, and it actually happened the other way, where my mother was really abusive to my father. My father, being a bit of a people pleaser, which I picked up on, he allowed that, and he also allowed it to happen to me, which for a long time I resented him for. But this is getting off topic. I understand it, even though it doesn't make sense to me. But the problem is, hurt people.
Absolutely.
And whatever he was struggling with, and I don't know him, everything I know is from this short conversation. Whatever he was struggling with, he's somewhere looking to take out his anger on someone else. But it makes it worse in Islamic culture that it seems to be socially acceptable for men to look down on women so much. And I don't understand why. And maybe you can help educate me, because I've been diving into religious texts lately. I've been reading the Bible. I've tried to pick up a version of the Quran in English. Muhammad, praise be to him, said, I think that's what you say, is very adamant that women should be treated as equally as men.
Absolutely.
So why is it in Muslim culture that men seem to look down on women and mistreat them so badly? And I think I know the answer to this. Why do women allow it to happen? And I think it's because it's just so ingrained in the culture that men are superior to women. But why is that when it goes so against the teachings of Muhammad?
It's a question that I've asked myself the same thing. I think we've grown up with this idea that women are submissive, that the man is the one that's the provider. He is the one that's supposed to be the caretaker. Well, women are the caretaker, but my point is like they are the ones that will make sure to take care of the family, as in financially, have a house provided for them. So I think, and it also has to do with the fact that, like I said earlier, how my brother is, almighty. He's a boy. So it's been ingrained that men are quote unquote the gods, even though the most important figure in our religion says otherwise, says you need to treat a woman as equal as you. So, but I'm not saying that all Muslim men are like that. Absolutely not. There are millions who are still, who are wonderful. Like my uncles treat their wives like goddesses. Whatever she says, he's gonna do. And not for nothing, but my brother actually is really good to his wife. Whatever she wants, he'll say he's gonna do it. So it's just very strange how there's always gonna be I love you, you're my equal, but then another day it's like, you know what, fuck you. I'm the guy. There's always gonna be a back and forth with this.
This links back nicely to what we said about learned behavior. I think that unfortunately so many Islamic men and women have learned over the ages that men are superior, and so they just default into this routine. Conversely, and when I think about myself, I learned from a very young age that women were the most important and women should be feared, and you should bow down to women, just simply because that's what I saw and I learned. And it just goes to reinforce how much of our behavior is picked up from our environment. But I want to loop this back to talk about you, because and now I'm not sure how to. Because we started talking about sexuality, and that's the part that I'd really like to focus on, because it's something you're so passionate about.
Oh, we can talk about anything. It's fine with me. We'll get there. We'll get there.
I'm sure we will. I think you and I have a few conversations on the podcast. I have to cut this out. I just find it interesting, the number of people that have come from traumatic backgrounds and don't identify with stereotypical sexual preferences of being straight. And I don't know why that is. And I'd love to understand why. And it's something I hope to spend 40, 50 years looking into. You're another example of someone I know who has struggled with something, be it your mother, your father, and now doesn't identify with being attracted to men, which, like, be whoever you want to be, you know, being offensive. Do you think that, I don't want to say that.
Do you think that the actions of my father or my brother is the reason why I'm more leaning towards women?
Do you think that the aggressiveness of men, how men can be somewhat almost narcissistic and too arrogant, and attractive in their personalities, do you think that leans you to being more attracted to women? Because you've said to me as well that you don't consider yourself 100% gay. You do find men somewhat attractive, but it's not your current preference where your head is at the moment.
Right.
So you've got feelings on both sides, but like, it doesn't matter. It's just a shame that you've for a long time felt like you couldn't be yourself. You know, I don't know how to pick it all apart. Your turn to talk. Let me think.
That's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't.
No,
box it very well,
not at all. No, no. I'll see if I can somehow try and break it down for you, or maybe explain it to you.
You seem like a wonderful, wonderful person, and whether it's with a guy or a girl or someone in between, you're going to make someone very happy.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Whoever it will be.
Thank you. Do I think perhaps that's maybe the
where do you think your sexuality has come from? Do you have any inkling? When do you think you were first attracted to girls? Do you remember being attracted? Do you remember playing kiss chase with a boy? We used to do kiss chase at school. It's probably different in your culture, but we used to run around. The boys would chase the girls at age 6 or 7.
No, we didn't do anything like that. Oh gosh, I don't know, but I know that during my teenage years, when I started junior high, there were like girls from other schools, and because junior high is a lot bigger, so you have neighboring schools who would come into the junior high school, which is a bigger school now.
Fresh meat.
And there were, yeah, fresh meats. I would be like, holy cow, that one is pretty. I'm like, oh wow, she is a pretty one. And I think from starting in junior high, I saw all these other girls who I never saw when I was in elementary schools. And elementary school was from kindergarten to 6th grade. And now, like you said, it's fresh meat in a way. And I'm like, wow, that one is pretty. That one is pretty. So I think starting in junior high, when I got exposed to more different girls out there, I'm like, wow, that one is nice. Things like that. So maybe like around 12, 13.
Ever attraction to boys in that age? Did you ever see a boy that you thought, oh, he...
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I still did. Yeah, I still thought that they were like two boys I really liked in junior high.
You liked every flavor of crisps, didn't you?
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Pretty much. Yeah.
This is what's so irritating to me about society and people who aren't tolerant is that clearly from a very young age you have preferences and you've picked something up or you're born a certain way, whatever it is, and you like a particular set of people. And we just need to let people enjoy whatever they want to like between two consenting adults, you know?
Hmm. Hmm.
People like the fundamentalist, typically religious types who say, no, man must be with woman, married till your death, blah, 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 blah. You restrict people from being their true selves. And I just want to give people the space to be whoever they want to be. And I'm glad that you're now rediscovering that for yourself, you know?
Yeah. It's been, like I said, these feelings were dormant for 13 years or so. So having those feelings resurface again, and now that I am 38, so now this is where I need to be like, all right, what am I really into? Which is funny because around the end of December of last year, I met up with a guy. He was a nice guy, but I wasn't in the right headspace, so I couldn't give him my full attention because of something else that happened around
Well, but
the end
also,
of. Go ahead.
I know what you're going to talk about. We can come to that. I'm guessing that the guy probably didn't give you butterflies that a girl might, right?
Yeah,
Or did you really like the guy?
he was a nice guy, but like you said, it wasn't the butterflies. There was attraction because he was a good looking guy. But then there was that arrogance, the cockiness, that narcissistic thing of his. And so I'm like, you're good looking, but at the same time, this is just not what I like about you. He insisted he was always right, and I just couldn't stand that.
I think that's typical of a lot of Muslim men, right? Which we've already realized you
Yeah.
find unattractive fundamentally.
Hmm. And then what was it? After I broke it off with him, I had to be honest. I told him that I just don't feel comfortable being alone with you. And he didn't quite understand that. But with my background, well, not my background, but with my history with men and how they were aggressive and everything, I just always felt that trauma of what if you're going to do something aggressive to me. That's what I didn't like. And he was also very he wanted to sleep with me. I couldn't stand that pressure. I'm like, I don't even know you well enough to do something like that. So that was another reason why I was afraid to be alone with him, because I was afraid he was going to be so aggressive and do something. And I was like, I literally said, I don't feel comfortable. I feel afraid being alone with you.
Shame to hear that, especially when you're older. I mean, I recognize
Hmm.
that it's weird as an isolated kid. You always want to get with a girl because you want to be accepted, but particularly as a people pleaser. So you can be pushy sexually, but it's
Hmm.
something you quickly grow out of because you realize that it's not okay.
Hmm.
But and I think was he Muslim or Islamic?
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, it comes back to the cultural difference of women are subservient to men typically,
Hmm.
and they expectant that, oh well, you have to give me sex, and that must be very very difficult for you, particularly because of your background. And I wonder if, going back to what we're saying about why you prefer women, perhaps maybe you feel safer around women, and women are a bit more delicate and
Hmm.
kind and nurturing and loving
Yep.
than your
And
stereotypical man.
yep. And what I've witnessed that growing up with my brother, with my father. So obviously, I would tend to lean more towards the women, go towards them rather than the man.
In a non-sexual way, just in like in
Yes,
a family unit.
yeah, friends wise, family wise, of course.
I think that maybe we're digging slightly into more where your feelings are coming from, and
Hmm.
it makes total sense. I only apologise on behalf of men that we've hurt you so much in so many ways, and I think men have a
Okay.
lot of responsibility to take for mistakes they've made. I think of mistakes I've made with people, and even being in and around my sisters and being cruel to my sisters because of what we had growing up. Men have to realise that we have fucked up along the way and need to take responsibility for it. And it manifests itself in someone like you who's not repulsed by men but turned off. It's odd as well because I think about my own sexuality, and like I said, I've dabbled with men, but you always have that biological driver in you, in that you want to have babies somewhere. So I get somewhat confused by this because the scientist in me says, all right, man and woman must have babies, but I know that that's not how attraction works.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you think about kids at all?
Sometimes, sometimes, and then sometimes I'm like, is it really worth? This world is so scary and crazy now. Is it really worth bringing a child into the world now? And
Exactly where I'm at.
it's like there's so much fear, there's so much exposure. It's like, do they really need this? It's not
No.
fair. And then at other times, I'm like, I would love to be a mom, because I'm actually a really fun person, believe it or not. I love to laugh.
I
I
didn't
love
say you
traveling.
weren't. That's
No,
you
no,
putting
no,
yourself
no.
down.
No, I just mean that I'm full of life and energy, and
You
I
are.
can, when I'm talking with the older kids, well, the older kids are like 10 years old in my school, like I can get down to their level and talk to them about the whole, whatever the latest TikTok stuff is. Or even if I don't know it, I'm like, what the heck is a skippity doo or whatever it's called? So like I can connect with them easily, things like that. So go back and forth with that. I'm like, do I want to be a mom because this world is so scary now? But at the same time, I know that I can give them a good life also. Like I can give them the joy. I can give them the love that they deserve. So it's always a back and forth.
Maybe you have to have met the right woman as well.
Possibly, possibly. Maybe
Maybe.
man, who knows? But definitely the right partner, I should say.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but if you want a baby, you're going to need a man at some point.
Obviously, yeah.
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 Maybe I'm gonna just turn this and make this into a dating profile for you. But what do you like in women?
Oh gosh, be honest, be kind. If you want to travel, I am your travel buddy because I love traveling. What else can I say? Communication is a big thing. Don't hide anything. Well, not hide. I should say don't keep it in you. I want to talk. It's the only way for me to better know someone and open-minded. Just be open-minded. Try new things. Be adventurous. That's
Someone like
basically it.
yourself, really.
Pretty much. Pretty much, yeah.
We'll come back to this. Let me flip on this now because I think you said you're somewhat concerned about your parents and your family knowing your preferences. I think we're lucky enough
Hmm.
that my podcast is still such early days that people won't see this for ages until it blows up. So, what is it about them knowing who you are that really scares you? Because, and part of me doesn't want to tell you this answer in the people pleasing side, which we went over. I'll let you
The
talk.
Okay.
What's stopping you really embracing this person? Because I feel like you're just being so real with me, and
Hmm.
I kind of know quite close who you are, what you like, who you want. That I kind of wish we could just go and bar hop, and I'd be your wingman, you know,
Oh, that
and
would
we
be
go.
great.
It would be fun, eh? If I have,
We can
there's a
do
chance
that.
I'll get to New York in November, and if I do, we're hooking up.
Let me
Um,
know. Let me know. We must do
yeah,
that.
I will. We will. What's stopping you now that you've rediscovered yourself and you've gone through
Hmm.
this period of trying to chase men for a while and actually reawakening that you realize that you're at least not straight? What's stopping you pursuing that now? Or do you feel like you've reached that point that you're ready again?
I think I'm ready again. The only thing that's stopping me is the fact that if my family found out, I don't know if I will be disowned. I doubt I will be disowned. They all say that, but I don't think it'll happen. But disappointment for sure, anger, and I feel like they will never forgive me.
Does that matter?
It shouldn't matter. It's two kids. My brother's already married, and I'm the oldest cousin. I'm the oldest sibling. So I'm hitting 40 in next year. I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. I'm hitting 40 in 2 years. I forgot. This is
Good job you're not a
2020.
teacher. You're teaching math or something.
I know. I just feel
And
like,
I mean this in the kindest way.
mhm,
Fuck them.
I know. It really should be like, fuck them. This is my life. This is what makes me happy. But it's that stereotype. At 25, you should be married with a guy. You should have kids by 30. None
Says
of that
who?
happened from the community, society, the Muslim society. Whereas for me, here I am, I'm 38, still single, living with my parents, not married. So to them, I feel like I'm already a disappointment.
I
Now
get that.
imagine, and now imagine telling them, hey, not only am I single, unmarried, still living with you, but I'm also into women. So
It's difficult, isn't it? I think it comes from not feeling accepted and not feeling like you can be your true self as a young child. That also carries through into adulthood,
mhm,
whereby you want to be accepted, but you aren't able to be your true self because you're so used to trying to do what other people do want and trying to please other people rather than just embracing and being you. And I struggled with this for a long, long time. I'm quite emotional. I have a lot of feminine energy, for example, feminine
mhm,
energy, whatever that is. Um, I like to help people. I like to play with Lego. I like Marvel movies. It took me a long time to accept that that's who I am and actually really decide, hey, I'm a really good person. I decide I can be whoever I want to be. And it
mhm.
sounds like you're maybe getting to that point because I have to tell you, and I've told you before, you are a wonderful person.
Thank you.
We just need to get you to the place where you believe that about yourself. It sounds like your family, whether they are good or bad, they have stuff that they need to work on in themselves and stop looking to blame you or someone else for what they are struggling with. And it's not up to them, whether it's religion or the family unit or their preferences or their opinions on sexuality. You are who you are, and you need to, when you're ready, just be whoever you want to be. I haven't articulated that very well. I
No, I
want,
understand what you mean.
I'd like to see you get to that place as quickly as I can, and I'm trying to work out how I can help you.
I mean, I think I'm slowly getting there. I'm working out, I'm going to the gym. I have two really great trainers, Eric and Devante. They are amazing. I I give my 110% all the time because they're always saying that they're proud of the progress that I've made. So I'm slowly getting there. I'm starting to build that self-esteem again. So I'll get there soon. Compared to how I was in
How?
January. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, no, I was just going to ask, how do you think I can help you? What is it I can offer you that could help you as a friend? What would you need from me
Oh
to help
man.
you on this journey?
Honestly, just a lending ear. Once in a while if I need to vent. That's all.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I know, but I really mean it. Whatever I can do to help you get there, I need to develop my understanding of trauma a little bit more to guide you into being who you want to be. Because I see myself in you and in being a people pleaser and trying to do things for other people,
Hmm.
and it isn't a fun existence. And I'm still on that journey myself, to tell you the truth.
It's
For now,
exhausting.
all I can tell you is I think, well, it is exhausting. You understand that. But for all I
Oh
can
yeah.
say for you for now is that I think you're a wonderful person, and I think you're going to get there in your own time. I wonder if there's a community you can join of gay Muslim women.
I'm
Have you ever
sure
searched
there
one?
is. I haven't searched, but I mean, I'm sure there's something. Also, New York City is like the hub for the LGBTQ community, so there's got to be something. I'm sure there's tons in the community. And just like me,
Um,
they're very, they're very low key. They don't wanna be out in the open because of the stigma, because of the fear of being exposed and then their family finding out.
I just found an Instagram group called the Queer Muslim Project.
Oh, all
I
right, I
wonder
gotta
what
look
that's
into
about.
that. I'm gonna look into that now. You gotta send me that on Instagram. Just send me the
I'll,
link or
I'll
something.
send I'll
Yeah.
send it over to you. I've given them some free publicity. Maybe I should
Oh,
link up with them and
perfect. Yeah, you should.
do some podcasting. I want to go into deeper, darker conversation
Hmm.
now. And we touched on it
Okay.
earlier, but you told me you've had a couple of either attempts or very low periods in your life where you really considered suicide. Are you
Hmm.
happy to talk about that?
Yeah, I'll talk about it.
When you give me space to talk, I'll just unmute it and I'll jump in, all right?
Gotcha. Okay. So my first attempt was in Ireland in the towards the end of April. It was spring break for us. I went there. That was my first trip outside of the country solo. So for me, I got there 10 in the morning, so it was an overnight flight. I got there 10 in the morning. I was exhausted. The art teacher at my school just happened to coincidentally be in Dublin also that same week. So we had decided to meet
No
up.
way. Funny.
Yeah. So we had decided to meet up later that day, but she said, whenever you land, you let me know and we'll figure out a time. Anyways, so backtracking, it's 10 in the morning. I'm tired. I shower. I text her maybe around noonish, and I say, "Hey, I'm here. Let me know whenever you want to meet up." And she said, "Okay, like around 3 o'clock, we're heading to the Guinness,
Factory.
what do you call it? The Guinness factory." Yes. Which by the way, it's phenomenal. I loved it there. But
I've heard good things.
it's quite a interesting place. I loved it. So I said, okay, I'll meet you around 3 o'clock there. And I don't know, within 30 minutes, 45 minutes, all of a sudden, I just got this feeling of worthlessness. Why am I here? I don't belong here. I hate myself. I'm worthless. I don't deserve to be here. Just out of nowhere. Well, I shouldn't say out of nowhere, but this trip, Ireland was calling me. I don't know how to explain it, but like someone had mentioned they want to go to Ireland, and that was in the back of my mind. And then all of a sudden, the news from the airline JetBlue says they're flying to Dublin. I'm like, okay, I'll go to Dublin for the weekend, for the spring break. Why not?
Your phone's listening to you.
Yeah,
The Matrix
listening.
is involved.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. What happened was I was just feeling this way. I had this 15-foot charging cord near me. And I remember my supervisor had said one time, if you're ever feeling this way, if you ever have these feelings, this crisis, dial 988, which is a suicide hotline number. And so, because I was in Dublin, 988 is an American number. What I did was I downloaded a VPN, made myself located in America, dialed 988, and I was talking to this, I guess a counselor, you can call them, a grief counselor or something like that. And I had told them, I have this 15-foot cord right next to me. I want to hang myself, but I'm supposed to meet a friend in a couple of hours. I'm alone in Ireland. I have no friends here. It's a solo trip. I need you to help me, give me a reason or something to like stop these feelings so I can see my friend at 3 o'clock. And so this person on this line was like, I'm not going to end this conversation until I know you're safe with your friend. So for the
Beautiful.
next, so anyone else just would have like just asked questions and ended it. But the fact that this person went on for 2 hours or so with me, maybe a little longer than that, I really can't remember anymore at this point. But it was something like that, 2.5 hours, just asking nonsense questions, anything to just keep me on the line. And so they were like, but I need you to answer like within 30 seconds. Otherwise, I'm going to ask if you're there, just to confirm that I'm still alive. So it would be just nonsense questions. What are you doing there? What made you bring here? What are you looking forward to? What airline did you take? What time did you land? Just anything. Like literally, they even asked me a question of like, what was my favorite animal? And then I started talking about my favorite animal, which by the
Which
way is a
is.
panda. A panda.
Okay, cool.
um, So they kept me on the line, started to get ready. I was getting dressed and everything. And finally, I see my friend across the street with her family. And I said to the counselor, I see my friend, she's right across the street. She's wearing a pink coat. And he or she, I can't remember what it was, but they said, is it safe enough to end the conversation? And I said, yes, it's safe enough. So the conversation ended. I'm still a little down, but compared to how I was 2 hours ago, a lot better. Hung out with my friend and her family. It was her boyfriend and her parents. Mind you, I'm also like a little jet lagged, so I'm like a little tired at the same time.
I was going to say, I wondered if that played a part. And I don't want to cut you
Possibly.
off. Keep going.
No, that's okay. Possibly it could have, but like there's more to Ireland the history of why I wanted to go, but we'll leave that for another time. For now.
Whatever you
But
want to say, it's all good. But I wonder if whatever it is did play a role, because you said suddenly out of nowhere you were having these suicidal thoughts, but then you backtracked and said, well, actually not out of nowhere. So whether you knew it or not at the time, or whether you knew it, you know it or know it then or know it now, I think there were some other things going on that push you down this dark path, right?
absolutely, definitely.
Finish your story and then maybe I can ask you about that.
Sure. At the end of after we went home, my friends went home. I went, well, not home, but to the hotel. I went back to my hotel. I texted her to say thank you. I had a nice time, and that I felt a little bit more comfortable being around Ireland now that I got to venture off the first day with someone familiar. So I don't feel too afraid now. She said thanks, and the one thing she said to me that stuck to me the most was, my mom thinks you have a kind soul. So I've never met her mom before. That was the first time I've met her. And we only hung out for like maybe 2 or 3 hours, maybe 3 hours. And for her to automatically see that in me and said, you have a kind soul, that's what hit me the most. Because you're a total stranger. You barely know who I am. And already you can see the good in me. Even though I wasn't even myself. I was hardly talking, but I was like forcing myself to be friendly and conversing with them.
The time. You are a kind soul. I see that. I think it's obvious.
And then when she said that, the only thing that came to my mind was, oh, how come some other people don't? So I thanked her, and I felt a little better. And then the next day, I got messages from that guy that I was seeing, and because I had told him a couple of weeks prior that I'm just not interested, he sends me messages saying, you're fake, you're, what did he say, you're a cookie cutter, whatever that means. And so that brought me
I'll
back
Google
to
that
that.
while you're talking. I have no idea what that means either. What a prick. Yeah, carry on.
So that just brought me back. Then I was like, what did I do now? What did I do to tick you off? Because I am like 4,000 miles away from you. I didn't even do anything. He was just angry that I broke it off with him. Well,
That you'd hurt him.
sorry that I hurt him. Yeah. So I go to, I really didn't want to entertain him because I had a tour
Fuck
to
him.
go to, but I had a tour to meet my tour group to go to the Cliffs of Moher. So I was like, I'm not dealing with this. Fuck this right now. I have to get ready and be at this place at 6 in the morning. So I go there, and it's all fenced up until at some point where you have to climb up the stairs and you're literally at the edge of the cliffs. That's how far you can go. So I'm at the edge. I'm just saying to myself, there is nothing here that can stop me from jumping. I can just take one more step and I fall 1,000 feet and die.
Scary realization, isn't it? When
It is.
there's nothing but you holding you back, and you realize how easy it would be. Just get out. I've been there.
And there are other people around, but still, like, they don't know what my next move would be. So, and the cliffs of Moher are just magnificent. Holy cow, they're beautiful. They really are.
Good.
So I'm at the edge and I'm looking around and I'm like, this world is so beautiful. I don't want to go yet. Yeah, I'm sad, but there's so much to see in this big world that I want to experience, that I want to see, that I want to explore. So I took a few steps back and I was just like, you know what? And it sounds weird, and I'll tell you why right afterwards, but I was like, damn, just give me a sign that everything will be okay. Anything, I don't care what it is. So I finish the tour, I go back with the tour guide, and on my way back to Dublin, I get a message from an old friend that I knew in junior high school and high school, Danny. He has no idea what I'm going through. He saw my pictures on Instagram, but he has no idea about everything that I've been going through mentally, emotionally, all of that. And I never made it obvious anyway on Instagram at that time.
No.
He sent me a message saying, I just wanted to tell you a little something. Back in high school, when 9/11 happened, I hated Muslims. And that included you by proxy, even though we were friends for a while. And he goes, but when I saw how they were treating you and how they were bullying you, I said to myself, this is my friend. I've known her for almost 4 years now. She hasn't done anything. So why are they bullying her? And I see how miserable you are at how they're treating you. And how can I be angry at you for an event that happened that you didn't even cause?
Holy shit,
And
that's a ride. I didn't even
yeah,
think of that experience for you. Sorry, go on.
it's okay. So he goes, and because of the treatment towards you, it made me open up my mind to embrace other cultures, embrace other people, really get to know their stories, really just get to see that I can't hate someone just because other people are responsible for it. So he said, thanks to you, I've become more worldly. And he ends it by saying, you were always great. You are great. Keep being great. And so I'm sitting in the coach bus and I'm reading this, crying now. And I'm like, I think this was the sign that I was asking for, because it came out of nowhere. He had no idea what I was going through. And to get that message, to know that I was just some quiet 16-year-old, 15-year-old. How old was I in 2001? I'm trying to think now. 86, 96, 97,
15,
98,
14,
99. Yeah,
15, 16.
something like that. Yeah. For me to open his mind and change his views, I was like, I do have a purpose. I do. I'm not a bad person after all, just like these thoughts were telling me the night before that I'm worthless, that I'm not important. Clearly, I've changed a teenage boy's life, and it impacted him so much to this day, where out of nowhere, out of the blue, some 20 years later, you text me and you tell me this. You had so many years to tell me. You could have told me this in your mid 20s. You could have told me this while we were in high school. But out of nowhere, when I'm asking the universe for a sign, suddenly you come out of the woodworks to tell me this. And it
I
just
want to
validated, it just validated my like, I'm not a bad person after all.
I'm going to go on a big loop here, but
Mm-hmm.
you're definitely not a good person. Not a person. You're
Don't
definitely
say that.
not. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks a lot. You are 100% a good person, and
Thank you.
you. Sometimes we get stuck thinking these things, very negative thoughts, and they've come from somewhere, your childhood, that unfortunately you have this limiting belief that you thought you were a bad person, and it isn't true.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want you to remember that if you ever get low like that ever again, you can always pick up the phone to me. But I want you to remember
Appreciate it.
that the universe chose to send you that message at that time. Like there is something out there that wanted to remind you that you are worthy of still being here,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it was. And it isn't a coincidence. Things like that happen to us. And there are moments in my life where I've definitely been guided
Mm-hmm.
in positive and just generic ways. And I want you to forever remember that you are special. You are a wonderful person, and I'm telling you, you are a wonderful person,
Thank you.
no matter what
Thank
you
you.
believe or what someone else might tell you. And I want to loop back around to when I talk about suicide. Big Irish band U2. One of their songs is "Stuck in a Moment You Can't Get Out of," and it's about the suicide of one of Bono's friends. And it basically saying that some points you get stuck in this chain of thought where you are saying very negative and cruel and mean things to yourself. And if you're not careful, one silly moment next to a cliff
Mm-hmm.
edge can be the difference between still being on this earth, being the wonderful person that you are, and being lost. I've got a feeling that you might never go that way again, and I really hope you don't. But if you do, remember that you are loved by me, by this friend, by people around you, and I would be devastated to lose you. I want to understand why you were thinking that way at the time, because it's not. Ireland is a wonderful place. It's full of amazing people. Some of the most fun, outgoing, loving
Oh
people
yeah.
you'll ever meet. The most sarcastic motherfuckers as well, but
Oh yeah.
wonderful.
So embracing.
Um,
Everyone was
they
wonderful
are.
there.
If you don't want to talk about it, it's fine. I understand because I don't know what you're going to say, but that something has been going on, whether it's this douchebag guy who's been making you feel like shit and saying things to you that perhaps have brought back feelings and emotions of your father and your brother saying bullshit things to you and putting you down, or for something else been going on that was enough to tilt you over the edge when you put in the jet lag and the tiredness and the new country and being alone and being on your own. What else was going on, if you want to talk about it? I'd like to dive into it with you and for everyone else. Welcome back to part 2 of Haaj's podcast. No, you told me, I'll find a way to cut all of this together now, but you told me about why you were really upset in Ireland, and it ultimately comes back to feelings of not feeling, of feeling worthless. And you had this limiting belief that for some reason, or whatever the reason was that we won't go into, that you were not desirable, not worthless, unwanted, unloved. And unfortunately, those are feelings that come back from looping full circle, your childhood. And whether that's a specific dynamic within your family of your father, mother, brother not loving you as they should, or the whole Islamic element to it. It sounds like you were triggered when you got to Ireland and those memories came up again. Is that fair?
You could say that. Yeah.
It's difficult, isn't it? We default into our pre-programmed schedule of brain thought of I'm not wanted, I'm unlovable, no one loves me. And trust me, I get it. I've been through it this summer when I went through a breakup and had friends that weren't there for me, weren't giving me a place to live or stay. Was really almost homeless for a time. And I was incredibly triggered. And it's difficult when you're in that mindset of I'm not loved, I'm not wanted, to break out of it. And it's ultimately a limiting belief, because I can tell you that in a non-sexual way, I want you, your kids that teach you want you, your friends around you want you. But if you can't believe that and can't see it, you can get lost in this moment, this dark rat hole of thoughts.
Absolutely.
And ultimately, what we need to do is try and reprogram that for you. And I don't know, are you still struggling with that now?
I'm doing a lot better now. I'm doing better. I am on medication for this.
Okay, are you? What are you taking?
Lexapro. It's an antidepressant.
I've heard of it, yeah.
I am working out, so that's helping also. I do boxing, so to be able to just get my aggression out and any feelings of lows or sadness that I have, I just punch. I mean, I've got punched in the head a few times yesterday in the eye, so
You can't tell.
luckily not.
You look
No,
beautiful.
but
You look good.
thank you. Thank you. Luckily, it's not that bad, but it was with usually it was with the girls this time instead of the guys, so we didn't go too hard, but it was
Do you have
still
a
good.
picture? Do you have a picture of your brother's face or someone you're going to punch?
I should, but
You should.
no, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that.
But you're doing
So
better now.
I'm doing a lot better now. Yeah, the medication absolutely helps because the stupid thing that I did was quit cold turkey for like a month and a half, which I never should have done that.
On your medication?
On my medication, because here I was thinking, oh, okay, look, I'm doing so much better now. I don't need this medication. This isn't the reason why. Lo and behold, I started feeling low again with the suicidal thoughts, with the depression very badly and all that stuff. I had a second attempt, and so that one got really bad. It got to the point where I actually had the marks around my neck.
Sorry to hear.
No, it was an eye opener. It was middle of August, so not too long ago, about a month and a half ago. That was when I said to myself, okay, I need to go back on my meds. Quitting cold turkey was not the right thing to do. So I've been consistently taking them, doing so much better. Usually like on a scale of 0 to 10. Since going back on the meds, 0 being no suicidal thoughts, 10 being suicidal thoughts. I've been at a 0, I would say, for the past 6 weeks. Thoughts
Occasionally
of
a
what
1 or a 2. They do pop up, don't they?
occasionally, of course, yeah, but it's
Yeah.
for
And that's normal for everyone who's been into a dark situation as we have. Like you
right.
it's difficult to control your thoughts, particularly until we've changed our beliefs, which I want to get
Hmm.
into in a minute. So like it's never perfect, but I'm glad to hear that it's almost minimal now.
It is, yes. Well, when I say 0, my point was more of not just thoughts, but actually acting upon them. It's been a 0. So I don't want to anymore. I know that life is precious, life is beautiful. I have so much to offer,
Yes, you do.
and the kid little my little they are the biggest reason why I want to continue, because when I see those smiles every morning and I see those giggles, I hear those giggles and the hugs that I get, it's like you little guys are the reason why I just keep on pushing myself, because you I don't want to say you depend on me, but it's like I am their next safe person to their parents. So if I'm not there to be there for you, who else would it be?
But I think they also get that from your energy because I see it in
Most
your eyes and
likely.
in your smile how warm and loving and kind and wonderful you are. And I'm sure they see that as well. Like, I wish we could have this conversation face to face rather than through the computer screen
I
because
know.
your warmth comes through the screen already, you know?
Thank you.
But carry on.
So, which
You
is
were talking
funny
about
because
medication and the move
yes.
and
So I'm back on my medication. I'm doing so much better. And believe it or not, at first when I was prescribed it, I was scared because I'm like, oh my God, I gotta be on this for the rest of my life. And turns out so many people are on antidepressants. Just COVID really messed up a lot of people. Not gonna lie, I was
isolation.
one of them. Isolation
Yeah.
for sure, absolutely.
Hmm. Hmm.
So everyone is on meds and it's not a big deal as I thought it would be. And honestly, it's been helping so much. Like I'm the old me. I'm that happy go lucky, that energy. Let's put it this way. Between January and April at work, everyone noticed something was not right with me. They saw the misery on my face. No
So
one,
what date range was this?
January of this year, January 24th to about April of 24th.
Okay, and everyone noticed at work. Go on, continue.
Yeah, they knew. I mean, I had lost a dramatic amount of weight. I lost about 30 pounds within a month. I was miserable. You would see me walking in the hallways with this look on my face of like miserable, misery, sadness. No one really knew what was going on. I didn't want to address it. I didn't think it was necessary, but it was very obvious. It was very obvious that something was not right with me. And then in May, once I started taking my medication, I started to get a little bit better. And by June, I was my old me again. Like I was laughing. I was joking around with the kids. I was communicating with coworkers again. And I opened up to a coworker and she had said, like, I noticed that towards the end of the year, you were your old self that I knew from years ago. You were that smiling Haaj that you were. So the medication absolutely plays a huge role, and I can't thank Lexapro enough for this.
This is an advert for Lexapro. Well, I mean, I'm going to go down into my own belief system now and throw a spanner in the works. I
Mm-hmm.
don't believe in medication, and
Mm,
it's a personal belief. And I say that because healthy, normal people don't need medication. That being said, if it works for you, then it works for you because everybody is different, and there is
right.
no one size fits all mental health program for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
We're all different. We've learned things in different ways, in different orders, different languages, different religions, different sexual preferences. Like no one is ever going to be the same.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost don't want to talk about the medication because if it's working for you, you need to stick with it. Do whatever your
Right.
doctor is telling you. But I'm intrigued by the period of time that you went and you slipped because January time would have been just after someone broke it off with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think it's that sent you into your downward spiral?
It was a little bit of that. It was a little bit of the my past. It's a little bit of both.
Because I've seen two experiences. One of you being in Ireland,
Mm-hmm.
actually three when I think about back to your childhood, and then this episode in January, March, where I think you've maybe felt unworthy, unloved, unwanted, and that brings you back into the headspace you were in as a kid, where you
Hmm.
felt the same feelings. Is that fair?
It could be. Most of the attention was on the brother. It definitely was something like that.
So, my guess is that you have a limiting belief within yourself that you are unloved, unlovable, unworthy, that you haven't had the opportunity to really focus on yourself, to think about yourself, what you need, what you want, to do stuff for yourself. And when you get to a period of a cycle of your life where suddenly people aren't around you or people aren't reaching out to you, aren't there for you, you're not in a you're not seeing someone, that you suddenly feel unwanted and unloved again, and it's that that drags you down. And I think it's
Hmm.
that belief that we need to change, because I can tell you,
Hmm.
I want you around, your kids want you around, your friends want you around, believe it or not, whether they show it, and excuse my French, maybe they sound like douchebags, your family do want you around, even if they're not
Hmm.
very good at showing it. And it's
Hmm.
important that you remember that. And I want you to remember that.
I do now. I've been focusing more on me now, which is a lot better. I look better, I feel better. Aside from the medication, it's also the fact that I've had a good support system around me. I had good friends who I could turn to, who I leaned to, who were just giving me cold hard advice, whether it was good advice or, harsh advice. They were saying it out of the goodness of their hearts. And it helped me because it helped me open my mind. It took a while, but it helped me open my mind. And now it's like I'm a good person. People want me around. And if they don't want me around, that's their loss because
Thousand
who
percent.
cares?
Amen. Amen.
It's their loss. I'm the type of person where I'm very loyal to you. I will give you the shirt off my back. I'm always going to be there for you no matter what. I'll always support you, praise you, bring you up and all that stuff. But if you can't appreciate that, then I don't know what else I can offer you because that's that's like 110% of what I can offer you. And if you can't recognize that and appreciate that, that's your loss. Whatever.
But it's also not about them. That's something that you've got to realize, because you're like me in that, oh, I used to be this way. You care so much about what other people think, that you want to be
Yeah.
accepted, and you're so desperate to be accepted that you're thinking about how other people judge you, and that's not right. It's about how you judge yourself and what you
Mhm.
think about yourself, and that's the
Mhm.
point I want to get to you. I want to give you some stuff to do, actually,
Okay.
if you don't mind. I hope I'm
No,
not
no,
being
go ahead.
too okay. I've done affirmations for a while, which is where you speak and say things out loud to yourself. You're nodding like you know this.
I know all about affirmations, manifestation, gratitude, all that stuff.
Are you doing affirmations?
I was for a while. I haven't done it recently, but I do a gratitude journal where every morning I write three things I'm grateful for.
That's not quite what I'm getting at, although that's good.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
what I want to change is the fact that you seem to have this belief that you're unwanted, unlovable,
Mhm.
not desired, no one cares about you, no one's thinking about you.
Mhm.
Uh, and that's the part in your head that I want to change, because I had that same thing as well. And I started saying affirmations to myself, and I do say affirmations to myself. I've recently, like I said, started reading the Bible and looking into religious texts. I've decided that God wants me around. I'm not necessarily a believer in religion, but
Mhm.
I've started to say to myself, God loves you, God wants me, God cares about me, the universe cares about me, people need me, people like you need me, people like you want me. And I've been saying that to myself out loud over and over and over and over again to reinforce it to myself that I am necessary, because I have that. I used to have that part in me that would say, oh, no one wants me, no one loves me, no one wants me around.
Mhm.
I want you to try and I want you to come up with something, maybe we can do it together, of something you can say to yourself throughout the day under your breath when no one is listening. You don't have to be shouting it down the hallways at school. I am worthy. I am loved. I am needed. People care about me. People want me. I'm needed. I am loved. People need me. People want me. My kids love me. I am loved. I love myself. I am worthy. This world doesn't exist without me. But I want you to go and say those things out loud and say them to yourself, because what it will do is start to reprogram the thoughts in your head. I think at a young age, we've experienced or you have experienced people saying you're not worth anything. Your brother's more important than you. Listen to your father. Shut up. Go and sit down. You don't matter. And they eventually they come into your head and they get stuck in there, and that's where your mind has been programmed to rethink. And it's that thought that's coming out, that limiting belief again and again and again and again, particularly when you get down. So I want you to practice that and say, or come up with some things that you're going to say to yourself and actually say it under your breath. I am wanted. I am loved. When you're happy, when you're sad, in the morning, at night, when you're brushing your teeth, I am wanted. I am loved. Over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And eventually it will destroy this little dickhead in your head that's telling you you're not worth it.
That little voice that's bringing me down. 100%.
Can you promise me you'll do that?
I promise.
As someone who cares about you.
No, I definitely will. I used to do it a lot the beginning
What
of the
stopped
year,
you?
and then I just thought, I don't know. I think maybe once I started the medication, but I'm also starting to believe it myself, because
That's the key, isn't it?
that's the thing. I'm starting to believe it because my two trainers, they don't know anything about me really. I've only known them for about 2.5 months now. And they're already saying, we see the progress. We see that you're a hard worker. You are doing fantastic. So like for someone like these two guys who barely know anything about me and already are praising me and are always saying that they're proud of me and the progress, clearly I am, worthy of something. I'm worthy of their attention. I'm important to them. I make them proud. So that's all that stuff.
Remember, the universe would not have said to you, would not have sent that guy to text you to say how much he meant to you, you meant to him at that time when you really needed him in Ireland, if you weren't necessary. You are
Right.
100% necessary to the universe. You're wanted. The kids need you. Even for that, the beautiful job you're doing with your school kids, we can't lose you. And you need to remember that. Have you thought about maybe just being, when you say your trainers, you're talking about the boxing trainers at the gym, right?
Yes, my boxing and my personal trainer.
How would you feel about being honest with them and saying, hey, I've been struggling with this. I have this limiting belief that I'm not worth anything. It's the thing that really holds me back. I just wanted to tell you because I really value you. Would you help me with it? Do you think that's
I
weird for
think
you?
it would
Is that
help
too
me.
hard for you?
No, I'm so close with them now that even if I just tell them that I'm just going through my lows, they will 100% be like mini therapists and like talk to me and tell me that, you know, we've all been through it. We totally get it. I know my boxing trainer and we're pretty close now. So he's been through the same struggles as me. So I've opened up to him a little bit. Not entirely, but like he knows I've been having some struggles, my lows, and he's been feeling the same ways also. So he and I for sure.
It's important to be able to relate to people. Unfortunately, isolation makes things a lot worse when you don't have someone to talk to. And there are people out there who don't have someone to talk to. And if anyone is watching this, I would recommend finding someone. If you don't have anyone, reach out to me. You can do it via my links in the video. If you don't have anyone, find someone who you can open up to and explain these things to, because we are all struggling in some way. And that's my point of the podcast. I want people to be able to be vulnerable and honest and reach out to people and realize that there are so many people in the same situation. As much as I love you, you are not going to be the only gay Muslim woman who's a
Oh,
bit
of
depressed
course.
and unloved. And I want other people to be able to see that and recognize that you're not the only one out there. And if we start talking to each other and start being honest and really accept that we've been through some terrible dark shit and it's affecting us still to this day, we'll be able to help each other through. This idea of survival of the fittest, number one person looking after themselves, is bullshit. If everyone looks after each other and we all help each other, there are 7 billion people looking after you. And that's the thing that we need to get to. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I seriously mean that. I'm really hoping I can get to New York in November. If the stock market goes my way and I can make a ton of money in the next month, no, seriously, then I'll be over in a heartbeat.
Yeah, come on.
First class in blue jet. What is it? JetBlue. You're going to hook me up with
JetBlue?
flights? No,
Oh,
no,
you know I will. Of
I'm
course.
sure you would. I feel like that was a really nice moment to pause where we were in the conversation. Like I'll edit this out. Is there something else you'd like to talk about? Do you want to take a break and come back another day? What do you? Where's your head
We
at?
could do
How
that.
can I help you right now?
Yeah, we can definitely come back and do it another day if that's fine with you.
Whatever. I mean, yes, I'd love to have you back. That came across
Okay.
as whatever.
No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
What do you need help with now before I let you go?
I don't need any help with anything. I feel like I'm good. I'm in a good place.
Okay. But earlier in the
I'm,
conversation, you asked me if I could be there for you and just be a listening ear, and I want to
of
keep being a
course.
listening ear.
Yeah. Yeah. In that case, of course, anytime I just need someone to talk to, at least I know I have someone to turn.
Dude, you always have me. Don't stress. And
Thanks a lot.
that goes for anyone else who's watching as well. I'm building a little community on School, a platform of Alex Hormozzi's. I'll put it in the link on the video. If anyone
Okay.
needs help, wants to reach out to me, you can do it via my social media, via the video, via that community. And Haj, I want you to remember to do your affirmations. I am
Absolutely. I
worthy.
will.
I am wanted. I am loved. If you can find, I don't know, a routine of something that you're going to say to yourself every day, all the
Hmm.
time, we're going to reprogram it and we're going to find you a nice chick.
Okay.
We will.
All right. When you come to New York, we'll just go bar hopping. We'll see what we can find.
I don't drink anymore, but we'll party. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, well, we don't have to drink. I mean, I barely drink. I only.
I still associate bars with drinking and alcohol, you know? It's a thing that I need to
Yeah,
change.
I
That's a
get
belief
it.
I need to
Yeah.
change.
Well, we can always just go to just a restaurant to eat, and then whatever happens, go always do that.
A gay discotheque.
Let's do it. Let's do that.
I've never been to a roller disco.
I don't even know if we have any. I have to
Come
look.
on, in New York, there must be one.
There's gotta be. I'm sure New York has everything. I'll
There
look
must be
into
the
it.
gayest roller disco in the world in New York, surely.
I'm sure there is. I'll look into it.
Okay. You going to be okay if I let you go?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Love you, dude. Be safe, eh?
Love you too. You too. Thanks for
All right.
everything.
You're welcome. See you soon. Bye.